Welcome inside episode 536 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan from the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains, and the Senators have swept the season series against the Detroit Red Wings, this time winning by a score of 4-1.
You'll love to see it, Ross, and the Belleville Senators are going to hope for a similar game up against the Hartford Wolfpack tonight. Not in the North Division, but still crucial points to be had for their points percentage in the playoff race.
We've got plenty to get into, including a look at Craig Button's top 10 Senators prospects. We'll compare and contrast his list with ours and a whole lot more. This is the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.
Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen on this Wednesday, April 13th. And Pilsy, the Detroit Red Wings stink.
They stink real bad. I mean, the Sens are able to put them away yet again. 4-1. No hat trick this time. What a disappointment, but very close. And how I would love to find out this stat. How many of the Red Wings goals that they've allowed this year are on empty net goals? Because Jeff Blashill is addicted to pulling the goalie. Like, no matter what, he's going to pull the goalie with. They could be up 4-1, and he's probably pulling the goalie with 2 minutes left. Like, it is crazy. I mean, I guess when you're a team like them, you got young players. You're trying to give them experience playing with an extra man there. But it's just funny how easy the Senators are able to score empty net on that team.
Yeah, chip and chase right around Mo Seider. I'm sure that felt good for Tim Stützle. And then Seider's shot 10 seconds later gets blocked by Austin Watson, and Stützle goes the other way. Did you notice that it was Tim Stützle and Austin Watson as a pair? I can't remember who the third forward was, but certainly a different look from DJ Smith protecting what was initially a one-goal lead. I know when Watson and he were out there, it was already 3-1, but Great experience for Timmy to be out there in the last minute defending a lead.
And he rewards DJ Smith for giving him that opportunity, right? By scoring a goal. So 2 empty net goals for Timmy. And the race to 50 is not much of a race. Yeah, he's just like strolling in there. Like, you know, when a guy, he's doing the home run trot now, Ross.
That's good. I was going to say the Usain Bolt where he's waving at the camera in the middle of the 100-meter.
Yeah, that's definitely accurate too. But he's definitely going to get it, and I'm pretty confident he's going to get 20 goals too. So
I thought you were going to say 60. I thought you were going to say 60 points.
No,
come on,
I'm not there yet, and I denied it on the postcast too. So it's probably going to happen, as we all know my history with takes and gambling. But Tim Stützle, that just puts the nail in the coffin. Like, the discourse online, Ross, of Red Wings fans getting at you about their rebuild being ahead, like. Other than, sure, you're ahead a couple games in the standings, but
2 wins.
Look at only 2 wins. And all the games these teams have played head-to-head, Ottawa has destroyed them. If you look at the goal differential between the two teams, that's a telling stat. Because like we talked about, the Sens don't normally get blown out. The Red Wings, they've made a habit of getting blown out very often. And another thing that I like to look at, and they've been talking about this on 32 Thoughts podcast for playoff teams, but I think it's a good stat looking at rebuilding teams too, is look at the regulation wins. Yet again, another category where the Sens clearly are ahead of the Red Wings, and the Red Wings rely more on those extra point games to get their couple points ahead of the Sens that they are now. So I think, and talk to Craig Button will tell you the same. The Sens are probably ahead of the Red Wings right now. Now, do the Red Wings have an amazing prospect pool and an unbelievable pipeline that's going to take a Viking ship from Sweden over to North America? Yeah, they do, but it's not quite ready yet. Whereas the Senators, they're already conquering this new land of the NHL, and they're doing it well.
Yeah, they certainly are. That's a fantastic analogy there with the Red Wings. Where my take came in, and this is the last time we're going to compare the Red Wings and Senators, at least till the offseason. Yeah. But three games in 12 days, you're certainly going to get to know a divisional opponent like that. My whole basis for that take, though, was look at the players who are contributing for Ottawa in these games. They're all under 25 years old. They're all locked up or under team control for many more years. And that's not even including the players who missed all 3 of the games, Pinto, Sanderson, and Shabbat. Batherson missed 2 out of 3 of these games as well. The guy who took his spot had another assist last night, so had 11 points in 3 games. Mathieu Joseph.
No Zub last night too. I know that's not a young prospect, but he's a top pair defenseman. So like there's a lot of excuses the Sens could use, but they don't need to because they ended up on the right side of things here.
Yeah, all 3 games. The goal differential, speaking of minus 71 on the season for the Detroit Red Wings, I think it's minus 40 for the Senators, give or take 1 or 2. Actually, no, I'm not. I don't have that up. Anyways, when we do get into the game last night, again, it's the players you want to see contributing. And then Austin Watson is a goal-scoring machine right now. 5 goals in his last 7 games, and it's his 3rd opening game goal. And that just leads so much momentum. You talk about how he used to try to do that with his fist. I prefer this version of Austin Watson, who starts games off scoring goals. I don't know how sustainable it is, but great play from Josh Norris and Pilsy. How nice is it to have a momentum goal on your side to take the lead? We got somebody tweeted at us right after the first period and said, oh man, it actually went our. It was Bruce Grant, a positive momentum goal for us. I said, yeah, if you look at the standings, Ottawa has 12 wins when they're tied after the first period in 35 games. They also have 12 wins when leading after the first period in 19 games. So just that is such a rollover effect into the second and third.
Yeah, and with Austin Watson, Ross, this kind of reminds me when we had the chat about Boro being like, look, I can't keep fighting like this. Like my body's breaking down. I know I have more to offer as a player. Maybe Austin Watson's kind of in the same transition right now, right? Like I'm not saying he's about to pop off goal scoring wise, but we haven't seen this type of production from him all season. But now that when's the last time Austin Watson got in a fight? I can't even remember. Now that now that he's let that go as his main contribution to this team, he's starting to produce in other areas. And it's nice because that goal that he scores, Ross, I don't blame the Red Wings for how they played that at all. Norris, your top scorer, who we're going to get into his shooting percentage and his next contract with Ian Mendes later today. But you have Josh Norris coming down the wing and Mathieu Joseph right beside him. So naturally, Greiss is going to be all the way sold on shot, either from Norris or a quick pass to Joseph.
Was he leaning way too far right, would you say?
Greiss, yes, as he typically does, yeah. But all the Red Wings players are focused on that side of the ice. Oh, it's just Austin Watson over there in front of the net. There's only 4 seconds left. We don't have to worry about him. Yeah, Sonk. He's going top cheese on Greiss for a nice shot. And that's the thing about Austin Watson's goals, too. They haven't been greasy garbage goals where it hits him and goes in. He's been beating goalies cleanly with nice shots. Like, sure, say what you want about the opportunities. He's been kind of wide open, but you still got to put it past the goalie there, and that's what he does. So I've been loving Austin Watson's game recently.
His last fight was March 5th, over a month ago, against the Arizona Coyotes in that wild 8-5 loss in Arizona. That's the last time Austin Watson fought. And crazy enough, his last fight before that was the game before that. So he fought in 2 straight games and then hasn't fought in over a month. And what's he done since then? Gotten the bike helmet and now has 5 goals in the last 7 games. So safety first for Austin Watson. And it's
so many intermission tarps off interviews, like an unprecedented amount.
You can't. Unparalleled success of Austin Watson's interviews this season. So great to see him playing well. Hopefully he can finish the season strong, because right now he's looking at all these young guys coming in, like the Parker Kellys, the Mark Kaslicks, the little taste of Cold Reinhardt. And he's like, okay, we got these little young guys nipping at my heels.
He's not comfy anymore. Yeah.
No, it's time. He's got a year left on his deal, and he'll play that out here. I'd imagine he's going to come back a favorite of DJ Smith, and in the right role. If he keeps producing like this, then I think he's got a spot here. We're talking how Tim Stützle at 20 goals at 17 right now. Obviously, we touched on those 2 goals at the end of the game. My big takeaway from them is how great it was seeing him out there defending a lead at the end of the game. But the game winner in this one was Drake Batherson. Talk about making an impact right away back in the lineup after suffering an illness where he lost 10 pounds, Pilsy. That's tough to come back from just like that.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine going through something like that and then having to play a professional hockey game soon after. And hey, I got to shout out MDZ too, because this is something that I always talk about with defensemen. Like, I don't want defensemen just winding up and seeing how much power can I get on this shot And if it hits the net, that's a bonus. I'm just going to wind one up and let it go. No, set it up for success. And that's what MDZ does with that shot. He sees Batherson's available in front of the net. He sees an opportunity for a deflection. And when you've got a guy with the skill like Drake, he's going to be able to put that top shelf if you put it in the right spot. Yeah, top pocky, extra crispy.
Put Drake right Batherson.
So that's something you love to see. And I think that was a great connection there. And it's great to see Batherson. He didn't quite get your Levy lock, Ross, but he's so close.
You know what? I sprinkled a little bit on Timmy 2 goals, so that more than makes up for it. All right, we got a little more to get into from this game. We got to preview the Belleville Senators. We're going to say this each of the next 8 games for them. It is an extremely crucial game coming up tonight for the Belleville Senators. And you know what? On days like today, I got to eat well because the stress of the game at night can get to me sometimes. That's why I'm a part of the HelloFresh movement. At HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. You can skip trips to the grocery store, like if you're in a winter storm like I am. You don't need to go to the grocery store. You can count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Pre-portioned ingredients is fantastic. Farm fresh, you love to hear that. And you get the convenience without skimping on the quality. HelloFresh has fit and wholesome recipes for satisfying and nutritional meals that you can feel good about, with 6 recipes per week to choose from that are low calorie and carb conscious. HelloFresh offers flexibility you need to create your custom order online or in the app. So check it out right now and customize your favorite dishes with their Hello Custom offerings by swapping out one portion or side for another. So basically, you're in control. At HelloFresh, cut back time spent in the kitchen and have these ready in 30 minutes or less. Plus, quick and easy plans, including 20-minute recipes. And the best part is, you're saving money. HelloFresh is 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal of the same quality. So go check them out right now at HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16. Why is it 16? Well, if you use code LockedOn16, you'll get up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16 and use code LockedOn16 for up to 16 meals and 3 free gifts. Check it out today. HelloFresh.com. It's HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. All right, Pilsy. So the Ottawa Senators defeated the Detroit Red Wings 4-1 the score, sweep the season series. Stick taps to Lucas Raymond. He gets 3 points in 3 games against the Ottawa Senators. Nice little secondary assist on the Tyler Bertuzzi goal where he put that upstairs in a hurry off a back tap in. No chance for Anton Forsberg, who I thought was otherwise fantastic. For a full recap of the game, go check out our postcast that's free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. And Pilsy, I want to pick up where our good friend at Laleem's Martian left off last night, because it was a bit of a take for sure with all the performances that he singled out Travis Hamonic as his first Sens Central standout.
Definitely was, yeah.
But the more you sit back and look at his performance without Artem Zub, so he becomes the de facto top right shot defenseman, that was probably his best game as an Ottawa Senator.
It was definitely the game that he was relied upon the most, and he stepped up to the plate. And it's crazy that we're looking at this now as such a positive. I think, to reiterate, it wasn't the fact that the Sens were getting Hamonic. It was the fact that you look at his contract, you look what they gave up, and that just all didn't make sense.
If only they were able to recoup a pick that was right beside it. We'll get to that, but Pills, you keep going on him.
Yeah, and Hamonic's the kind of guy that if you need him to bounce up your lineup for a game or two, I feel like he can do that. And the Sens didn't have enough of those veterans. Like, I feel like he right now, Ross, is what the Sens are pretending Zaitsev is. You know what I mean? Like, the Sens are trying to show and prove everyone, no, Zaitsev's contract isn't that bad. He can do all these things, but really he can't. Whereas Hamonic is showing, sure, small sample size with the Sens, but he's showing that he is able to do those things.
Right. We're not allowed to judge until training camp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're safe here, Pierre. So we can't even give you props, I guess, until training camp.
I'm trying to, but
we have to play it both ways. You don't get all the glory and none of the pushback there. Yeah. So, but yeah, to reiterate, I think he had a good game. Like, you look, 2 shots on goal, 3 hits, 4 blocks. and over 25 minutes played. So I think Hamonic had a great game. And shout out our friend Leams Martian, just a great hockey mind, snuffing that out before we did.
He's the reason why the postcast is what it is, and the numbers just keep climbing on the postcast, and the numbers keep climbing for attendance for our section at the 23rd game, or the game on the 23rd, probably sounds a little bit more proper, against the Montreal Canadiens. So check out our link tree. You can find that through our Instagram, lockedon.senators, and Sens Central on Twitter. And that way you can come and boo Brendan Gallagher with us, cheer on Tim Stützle, and a whole lot more details to come about the pre-meetup. Okay, that's some administrative stuff. Well, no, let's stick with administrative stuff because the Ottawa Senators have recouped the 4th-round pick that they sent to St. Louis in the Logan Brown for Zach Sanford swap. Now, this is a complete mind bender to me that the asset management from St. Louis is that bad that maybe they just don't care. But for a team that's given away a lot of draft picks, like they gave up a 2nd-round pick this year for Nick Leddy. Like they're giving away draft picks. You would think that a 4th rounder, especially Ottawa, is going to be in the top 5. It's going to be what, like 75th overall, 77th, like between that 75 and 85 range. Or am I? Yeah, 100%, right?
I don't know about 100%, but I'll give you 85% correct on that one.
32?
It sounds about right.
No, so 32 teams. So 64 would be the end of the 2nd round. So it's going to be like 70th overall. Or no, sorry, 4th round pick. This is why math is tough for me. So 3 rounds.
We'll get there.
So now it's going to be like 97 to 100 overall. Does that sound more right?
As the Sens would say, a pick before the 100th pick.
There you go. I get the reference there with Batherson's contract and all that. Under $5 million. Okay, since you've listened to me twirl in my brain about math, the bottom line is the pick that they sent for Travis Hamonic was Vancouver's 3rd round pick. So it's going to be a mid-3rd round pick. This is going to be an early 4th. So clearly it helps mitigate that disaster. I'll call it an asset management disaster despite the compliments we just paid to Travis Hamonic. But Logan Brown has 1 assist, no goals in his last 21 games out of those 30. Why did they feel the need to play him in his 30th game? I thought all along their plan was to play him in 29. They've got a 1st rounder down in San Antonio who's ready to come up, Klim Kostin, and say what you want. He hasn't been anything special, but neither is Logan Brown. So I just don't understand this move for the life of me.
Now, could that be a cap space thing, Ross? Is he getting
they're
more
both,
money?
They're both, no chance.
Okay. Yeah, no, Logan Brown's still at $750, his entry level. So no, it's not a cap thing. That's strictly a decision there. And this is going to be me trying to figure out why a team would do this. I think maybe St. Louis is falling into the same trap Ottawa fell into for a while. He's a hometown kid. Let's get the hometown kid his shine. The fans love it. What a story. A kid from St. Louis playing on the Blues, and he's going to be a big part of our playoff success, and we're going to rebuild him back home. That's the only thing I can think of because the numbers are not there. And like you said, if I'm St. Louis, I'm playing him 29 games and saying, have fun in the AHL. We're keeping that 4th rounder. So very interesting move, that's for sure. Or this is another reach. Maybe Logan Brown just has a fire playlist that the boys just cannot go without in the locker room. Like if he's a designated DJ, you can't ruin that mojo you got going. So those are my 2 guesses: hometown kid and ultimate DJ for Logan.
Maybe he brings that guitar that he's sitting there strumming with the watch and his draft day photos.
Yeah.
Oh
maybe.
Man, in all respects, so you're looking at a Senators team that just gets a 4th rounder back for absolutely nothing. So now the trade reads Logan Brown for a conditional 5th rounder because that's what they sent to Winnipeg in exchange for Zach Sanford. So good riddance to Pierre Dorion's first ever 1st round draft pick, and that closes the chapter of Logan Brown in Ottawa. But most of his time was spent in Belleville. The Belleville Senators back in action tonight. Quick preview of that game coming up, and then we'll finish off today's show discussing Craig Button's top 10 list of Senators prospects. We'll compare that with our list. We put out a video of one of our segments from yesterday discussing our top 10 Sens prospects, and expect an hour-long show in the summer where we actually dive deep into each one of those guys on the list. But before we get to that, Pilsy, you've got a word from one of our favorite sponsors.
Our friends over at Built Bar. Now, Ross, you might be hunkered inside all day, so you got your HelloFresh on the way, but you might want some snacks in between to keep you fueled and get your protein up. The best way to do that. Guy. Oh, yeah. But Ross, don't go for those garbage candy bars you usually pick up at the gas station on our way home from Belleville. Don't do that.
In Tyandaga?
Yeah, let's get you some real good tasting and healthy candy bars, and it's Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They have so many different amazing flavors to try from. If you're new to their product, you gotta get the mix box because you gotta try them all. There's not a flavor that I don't like. Like when I'm picking my Built Bar for the day, I just reach in the mixed box and grab one, and I'm cool with whatever flavor it is. That's how good they all are, because Built Bar, they focus on making it taste good. Then how can we make it healthy? That's the Built Bar way. They're low calorie, low sugar, yet high fiber and high protein. There's so many benefits to having Built Bar. At Built Bar, they want to make sure you're getting the best tasting protein bar there is. And for my money, it's definitely true. But don't just take my word for it. Check it out yourself. Go to built.com and use our promo code LOCKED15. And you're going to get 15% off your next order. Once again, guys, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. It's Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar.
All right, Pilsy. So the Belleville Senators, intriguing as it is, are disappointing over the last couple of games. And clearly their coach unhappy if you listen to Troy Mann after the loss against Laval the other night. But the best thing to do in a situation where losses are piling up is to get back on the ice. You don't want that week-long break, and they won't have it with another home matchup tonight against the Hartford Wolfpack. This is a team who's in a different division. It's the last outside of the division game for Belleville this year. Hartford is in 6th in their own division, so they are also battling for their playoff lives. Do you give Belleville the edge going into tonight?
Big time, I give Belleville the edge going into tonight, Ross, because if you're looking at the Hartford Wolfpack, their last 10 games, 2-7-1. So this is a team that's been struggling lately, and I mean, no, they're still close to the Penguins because we all know it goes by points percentage. The Penguins have a .522. Hartford has a .515. So only .07007, I guess. Yes, math guy. Away. So this is a big game for Hartford too. But the big thing I'm going to focus in on, and I've been standing up for Philip Gustafsson lately. We talked about it in our Craig Button list, and he's someone that Troy Mann specifically singled out, said has not been good enough. He has not been consistent enough. And I talk about him not getting chances. This is his chance. Like, Sogard is up in the NHL. Gustafsson's getting all these games here. So you need to prove to the team, to your coach, to the franchise that you can be the guy in these big moments. So he's definitely got his work cut out for him up against the Hartford Wolfpack tonight. But it can't all be on the tendies, Ross. This team needs to start scoring some goals. Only 1 goal in last game and then 2 goals in the game up against Rochester, where there's 11 goals against happening. So the power play has been the biggest issue. You cannot go 0 for 6 in a game when you're in a tight playoff race like this. So that's what I'm going to be looking to change. And now they got some of those reinforcements back. Kastlick, Reinhart, they're back down in Belleville. Lodine's there. So there's no excuses now. Let's see it happen up against the Wolfpack here.
Well, that's exactly the point I want to make, is with the power play. If they're planning on having any sort of success, that has to be better. They simply cannot expect to win games when they go 0 for 6 on the power play against Laval and 0 for 3. So they're 0 for their last 9 power plays. And would you look at that? They've lost both of those games. And yes, they were both lost by more than 1 goal, but their penalty kill also gave up 4 goals in the 6-2 loss to Rochester the other night. So you look at the standings as we've pulled up on our YouTube page right now, and you're going, oh boy, this one could get out of hand in a hurry if Belleville doesn't win the couple games here coming up, but it could also end up in 4th place if they go the right way going forward. And in a best of 3 series, like, home ice is definitely a big thing here. So if you're new to the AHL and how this, not even new to the AHL, but new to this season, because they're changing up how the playoffs are concerned, Utica has a bye, no matter what. And 2 more teams.
They've already clinched also, yeah.
2 more teams will as well. Looking like Laval is going to be one of those teams. But beyond that, I think with Syracuse, Toronto, Rochester, and Belleville, 1 will have a bye, and 2 will play a best-of-3 series, and 1's going to be standing up when the music stops. And that could be Belleville. If the playoffs started today, it would be Belleville. So tonight's game, huge for them. Power play has to get going. Goaltending has to be better. And if they can, then I think they've got a chance. I'm going to call a Victor Lodin goal tonight. Need to see it. It's his 3rd game now in North America. Third game. Played 1 on the weekend, 1 on Monday. Need one. Needs his first win with Belleville too. He probably got over it. He's like, am I the curse? We've lost 11-3 since I've been out of the line, or since I've been in the lineup.
Yeah, and Ross, if Victor Lodin gets a goal in the win, we can call that a victory. There's something there. Victory. We can workshop that one. And just quickly, while I think if we're talking about where the Belleville Sens can finish, I don't think they have a chance to get that bye. I think the math is against them now. All the divisional games, like especially Ross, if we see divisional games go to overtime or shootout and you get 3 points in there, they're pretty much screwed. So the best case scenario, I would say at this point, is Belleville getting home ice in that play-in series. So getting 4th in that division. And also, this is way off topic, but just something I was thinking about. Isn't it kind of weird that Hartford's name is the Wolfpack? Like, why not just the Hartford Wolves? Like, why you got to throw pack in there? That seems like a weird nickname for a team. So if you guys agree with me or think that's just a dumb thing to think of, let us know. I want to get into this.
All right. Yeah, that sounds like something for the YouTube comments as well. We are going to get into Craig Button's list, but first, I want to give some stick taps to Alex Formanton. We always get into the helmet and bike glasses, and it was Alex Formanton who got the handoff from Austin Watson last night. And of course, he was celebrating his 100th game. So stick taps to him, but still robbed. Drake Batherson has not won the bike helmet yet. That needs to be rectified here in the final stretch.
Yeah, Forey's my guy. I thought he was going to get a hattie in this game. You guys know how
he
I
is
feel
literally,
about him.
He did get a hat.
A helmet in this game. But that should have gone to Drake Batherson, in my opinion. But hey, the boys in the room, they know how to snap it around, and you want to give Formie props for 100 games, so nothing wrong with that.
100%. So Austin Watson gave it to Alex Formanton, and that pass that Austin Watson got for his goal was given to him by Josh Norris. So we had Ian Mendes on, last minute chat with him, and we knew we had a lot to get into on this show. We still have Craig Button coming up. So we're going to have this interview with a friend of the show as a YouTube exclusive. It's 20 minutes discussing Josh Norris and the article that Ian Mendes just wrote with The Athletic today. So we're going to put a little snippet in right here, and then go check out our YouTube page for more. We're going to drop that one at 4 p.m. this afternoon. Here's what you can expect from that discussion with Ian Mendes. If you are Pierre Dorion, jumping right into it, what is your initial offer to Josh Norris?
Boy, it's a great question, isn't it? Like, I think if I'm Pierre Dorion, I'm trying to get this guy locked up long term. And I do understand the thought of, look, his sample size, and I talked about this in the article. His sample size is different than most players coming out of entry level for 2 reasons. Number one, you go back to his first year as a pro, he only played 3 games in the NHL, right? Like, so he didn't get a full slate of games. And then year 2 is a pandemic shortened 56 game campaign. So when you start to look at Josh Norris's numbers, like, he doesn't have the 200 game plateau that most players of his ilk have coming out of their entry level deal and into RFA status. So if I'm Pierre Dorion, I do understand, look, there might be some questions here. Like, do we have enough of a sample size to firmly say he's a 35, 40 goal guy going forward? Are there some reasons for hesitation? But me personally, I've seen enough out of him. Like, the way he shoots the puck, the way he connects with Brady Tkachuk. I look at the Suzuki deal and I'm like, if I can get Josh Norris for that, I'm all in. Like, but I don't know. What's his camp thinking? Is his camp thinking, I'm worth that? That number's going to start with an 8. I don't know. But that's what I would try to do if I'm Pierre Dorion. And if it doesn't work out, then you go down the bridge deal road and see what you can do there.
Yeah, I'm definitely of the mind that Josh Norris, you need to lock him up long-term, because then you start looking at it. And I know the top line for the Sens is a little different now with Matthew Joseph getting into the equation. But if you can look at it and say, we've got Brady Tkachuk, Josh Norris and Drake Batherson locked up long term, at least you have your number one line there. Now let's flip it to Josh Norris's side. If you're Josh Norris, aren't you and your agent sitting there being like, we're in a great situation here? Like, normally a guy like Josh Norris probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to play top line center this early in his career. Like, to get up there that quickly it's not easy to do on most NHL teams. And you're playing with his best friend, Brady Tkachuk, a guy that's really worked out well with them in Batherson. So if you're Josh Norris, are you sitting there being like, I want to lock in long-term because this is what's best for me as well?
Yeah, I do think that they're, like, personally speaking, I think from a personal and professional standpoint, I think this is where he wants to be, right? Like his best friend in the hockey world is here. I think he's got a great relationship with those other guys. It does feel like it's on the upswing, doesn't it? Like I don't think, like, I think a little bit, maybe you had to convince the Shabots and even the Tkachuk that, this is going in the right direction. I don't think you have to do that as much with Josh Norris. I think he sees it. I think he's seen Batherson lock up. All these guys have locked up to long-term deals. So I think this is where he wants to be, but you can never get into an athlete's head. Like, I don't know. Does he want to at some point play for his hometown team in Detroit? Does he want to, you can never get into an athlete's head, but in the here and the now, he's put himself into a great spot. And I don't see why anybody wouldn't want to lock in long-term here, right? Like, I do think that there was some hesitation and trepidation before and some questions. I think a lot of those questions have evaporated. And the fact that Tkachuk signed long-term, to me, I think that kind of gives the stamp of approval and the green light for a guy like Norris to go ahead and do the same thing.
Always love a good visit from Ian on the show. We can't wait to see him on the 23rd. Hopefully join us at the pregame, a headliner, you could say, Pilsy, if Ian gets to come out and say hi to everyone.
Yeah, I think if we're doing a poster for this event, Ian Mendes would be the big font, and then in like size 12.
We'd be sitting on his shoulder if it was a big photo of him, eh?
yeah, we'd be the smaller font openers for Ian Mendes, that's for sure.
Like Drake sitting on the CN Tower in one of his albums, we're Drake and he's the CN Tower in terms of size discrepancy between the two. But hey, for as mammoth of a reporter as Ian is, he's just the best to chat with, and go check out the rest of our conversation with him. Nice little segue, though, because we talk about an interview that's a YouTube exclusive coming up on Friday's Locked On Senators. We're going to have Craig Button join us. And
Are we teasing this interview
it's
already?
Craig's been on 4 times already. I believe that after Joey Decord, Craig Button will be the second most appearances on Locked On Senators coming up Friday. So
I don't know. Our friend Tony Ferrari might disagree with that.
True. That's fair.
I got you, Tony.
Tony's going to be right there as well. But Craig Button has certainly helped this show out a lot. So
Absolutely.
we love that, and we love how his opinion usually changes from everyone else. Now, in this one though, I felt like it was reasonable, but I don't think that there's any like super hot takes here. As I'm pulling up his top 10 Sens prospects on our YouTube page right now. I'll run through them quickly, and then I'll pull up ours as well. I took out Shane Pinto from ours yesterday just so we can put these lists side by side and see how close or how different they are. His list is Jake Sanderson at 1. So, Pilsy, as I run through it, say where we have them on ours, okay? So he has Jake Sanderson at number 1.
We also have Jake Sanderson at number 1.
Ridley Gregg at number 2.
If we omit Shane Pinto, then we have Ridley Gregg at number 2.
Exactly. Philip Gustafson, he has at number 3.
Weird. So weird that Philip Gustafson is the first goalie on Craig Button's list. I mean, just expert analysis there from Craig Button, if I do say so myself.
And again, this topic has a lot more meat than just that, Pilsy. We'll get into it because Craig Button has Mads Søgaard at number 4.
Yeah, and I think in hindsight, we probably could have found a spot for Søgaard on this list as well. And I think he puts Gustafson and Søgaard so close together because you could, as we're proving, you can make an argument for flipping either of those guys and you wouldn't be wrong. So that's for sure. But we have Lassie ahead of the Tendies.
Yeah, it's awesome to see him have some respect for the Sens goalies. Hashtag goalie friendly show. We know Craig doesn't like goalies, so I'm going to have to talk to him about that. But I think you need to have Lassie higher than number 5 where Craig has him. He's just showing off. He's only 21 years old. And look at that, 25 points in 36 games, and he went 11 games without a point at one stretch in the season. So this guy, he is a solid defensive prospect, and maybe Craig's just kind of rationalizing by putting the two goalies together and then the 2D together, because he's got Lassie at 5, JBD at 6, Igor at 7, Boucher at 8, Clevin at 9, and Järventie at 10. So what are your overall impressions from Craig's list?
I would say it's pretty accurate. And I mean, Ross, we do have to admit our bias for Tyler Boucher. He's our kind of player, and you can argue, was he picked too high? Was he a reach? Did he flop in college? Blah, blah, blah. The injuries, whatever. Especially with Leams Martian piping in our ear about Tyler Boucher with his boots on the ground scouting. We have a lot of high hopes for him, and you can throw where he's picked out the window when it comes 2-3 years from now, because who cares? So we have him a little higher than I think most people do. But other than that, yeah, I would say I'm not shocked by any of these. And I would say most people, even non-Sens focused writers, like just NHL guys, would probably have a similar opinion about the Sens as Craig does here.
Yeah, for sure. So there's nowhere that we would really move that high up or down. Like, I think this might just kind of cement my opinion as well, that we were battling through. We didn't want to put two goalies on the list, but at the same time, like, I understand what Craig's doing here, and I respect this list. I think that he made clear that Jake Sanderson's the number one prospect in all of the Canadian team's prospect pools right now. It is worth noting he left out Cole Perfetti from Winnipeg's list. He left out Shane Pinto from ours because they are on NHL rosters right now. But all in all, I love the respect. Like, he's got Tyler Clevin higher than we do. And I feel like that shouldn't be the case, man. We got to pump up our boy here. Just so you've been able to see Craig's list right there. This is ours from yesterday. So the only guy, like, who do we have in the top 10 that he didn't? Sorry. Or no, we don't, because we had Pinto. Exactly. Yeah. So we've got the same 10. It's just in a different order. So you know what? We're going to discuss this with Craig. If you have any questions that you want us to ask Craig, specific to the Sens prospect pool, leave us a comment on our YouTube page, and we'll try to get as many of those in as possible. Pilsy, any other notes that you want to get to today, whether it's from the prospect list that Craig Button put out or otherwise?
I'll just tease our Ian Mendes piece a little more. Like, go ahead and read his article at the Athletic about Josh Norris's contract. And what I love about Ian is he's able to make things relatable. Like, it's not just a Sens fan being like, oh, look how good Josh Norris is. It's like, okay, is he as good as we think? Is he going to continue to be this good? Here's other players we can kind of compare him to. And he just does such a masterful job of connecting the dots like that and making it digestible too. It's not, you're not looking at heat graphs and numbers with a million decibel points behind it and stuff like that. So definitely check out Ian Mendes' article, and once again, thank him for joining us such short notice.
Yeah, what an absolute beauty. So stay tuned. Plenty more to come here on the Locked On Senators podcast later this week and beyond, including the continuation of Tank Watch. Let's run through today's Tank Watch. Last night didn't go that great if you're hoping for a perfect score, which I guess is unreasonable. Buffalo beats Toronto. Craig Anderson continues to own the Maple Leafs franchise. Love to see that. So Buffalo continues to stay ahead of Ottawa. Detroit, the gap closes, of course, but Sens wins are Sens wins. We're never going to cheer against that. Philly gets pumped 9-2. So that's a team that I believe Ottawa jumped over Philly last night in terms of the standings, as well as I just got to pull up Tankathon here for that. But also,
no, they're still behind Philly.
Okay, they jumped someone last night. They jumped
Chicago.
New Jersey. No, New Jersey won last night. They jumped. Well, Chicago doesn't even have their own pick. So
yeah, but it's Chicago's place in standing that represents Columbus's pick, right?
Right. That's true. There you go. So yeah, it was Chicago there. Chicago was losers as well last night. What was the score there? 5-2 they lost. And you're right, that is the team. And then New Jersey beat Arizona, which was a score that we were also hopeful for. So there was some good looking at the out-of-town scoreboard last night in terms of Tank Watch. Tonight, the cheering guide goes as follows. You're cheering for the Flyers over the Rangers. You're cheering for the Canadians over the Blue Jackets. I almost threw up in my mouth a little bit. And then the other game doesn't matter. Kings and Avalanche there. But that's your Tank Watch for today. Pilsy, are we going to do a quick spin? People love the spins.
Yeah, let's do a spin.
All right.
The
So the
odds
Ottawa
have changed,
Senators,
so
the Ottawa Senators right now are 7th in the draft lottery
6.7% odds.
standings. I hit the sim. They stay in 7th. Seattle jumps up to number 1, and Philadelphia jumps up to number 2. I'm hoping that Seattle gets the first overall pick, if not Ottawa.
Me too. Yeah, and another team that I would be all right with is Arizona. Who cares if they get a pick, right? All right, here we go. Oh, these Senators are picking first overall, followed by the Detroit Red Wings, then Arizona, then Montreal. Imagine, Ross, Ottawa first, Detroit second, Montreal fourth. Like, we talk about this Atlantic Division and those teams going head to head in the upcoming years. That would very much add to the intrigue of the battle in the Atlantic rebuild teams.
It certainly would, and we cannot wait for that. What a great way to end today's show. Thank you for watching or listening to the show. Thank you for subscribing wherever you download your podcast. Leave us a review, a comment. They all go a long way. And most importantly, steal your partner's phone and tell them to subscribe to Locked On Senators on YouTube. But for today, we say goodbye. Again, 4 p.m., we're going to drop our interview with Ian Mendes exclusively on our YouTube page. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.